Hello everyone, welcome to Full Moon Movies. When fairy tales are reimagined, they often lose the dark age that gave them the power in the first place. But Snow White and the Huntsman dares to keep the dark secrets intact. Released in 2012, this version of Snow White isn't the gentle animated tale we grew up with. Instead, it's a gritty fantasy that leans into medieval realism, war-torn kingdoms, and a queen whose power isn't just magical, it's terrifyingly manipulative, and in doing so, it offers a more mature, emotionally textured take on a well-worn legend. Kristen Stewart plays Snow White not as a helpless princess, but as a haunted young woman trying to reclaim both her freedom and her kingdom. Her performance is often understated, but it works in a story that isn't built on charm or whimsy. Snow White here is more of a symbolic figure, someone who grows into her role slowly through pain, sacrifice, and resistance. Her evolution from prisoner to a leader isn't sudden but earned, and Stewart shows moments of internal struggles as she learns what kind of strength she must wield. Chris Hemsworth, fresh off his Thor success, brings a surprisingly wariness to the role of the huntsman. He's not just the muscles, he's a grieving man, a drunk, a reluctant hero whose pain matches Snow White's own. His journey is less about defeating evil and more about finding purpose again, and the chemistry between Hemsworth and Stewart feels less romantic and more rooted in mutual survival, which fits the film's tone. Charlize Theron, however, steals the film. As Queen Ravina, she embodies the fear of aging, the hunger for beauty, and the desperation for control. Theron doesn't hold back. Her performance is fierce, theatrical, and often chilling. She gives Ravina depth that might otherwise be lost in costumes and spectacle. What makes this film stand out visually isn't its commitment to mood and texture. Director Rupert Sanders, coming from a background of commercials, brings a strong visual aesthetic. The forest scenes are either dreamlike or nightmarish, the castle interiors are drenched in shadow, and the battle scenes have a grounded weight to them. The film doesn't look like a fairy tale, it looks like a historical fiction with mythological overtones. The costume design by Colleen Atwood is also a highlight, especially Ravina's gowns, which often look like they are stitched from feathers, bones, and magic itself. James Newton Howard's score adds an emotional through line, mixing sweeping orchestral movements with darker brooding undercurrents. The music doesn't overpower, but rather accentuates the key moments, especially in Snow White's rallying speech or Ravina's solitary breakdowns. The film's pacing is deliberate, it doesn't rush into action, choosing instead to build its world slowly, allowing the weight of each decision to settle before the next challenge arrives. Now, compared to other fairy tales reimaginings, Snow White and the Huntsman leans more into drama than adventure. It's less the Princess Bride, more to the Lord of the Rings kind. And while that choice brought it a more adult audience, it also meant younger viewers might not really connect with it so easily. That said, this mature tone is exactly what it still resonates. It respects the viewer's intelligence and doesn't reduce Snow White into a passive symbol of purity. She fights, she bleeds, and she chooses her destiny. At the box office, the film performed solidly, earning nearly 400 million worldwide. Critics were mixed, some praised the visuals and performances, particularly Theron's, while others felt the narrative was too thin or took itself too seriously. But over time, Snow White and the Huntsman has gained a following among fans who appreciated its tone, atmosphere, and ambition. A common critic remains Kristen Stewart's emotionally reserved performance, but in context, that restraint feels consistent with a character who has lived in captivity and trauma. Not like the new Snow White, you know what I mean. Now, let's talk a bit about the 4K release of this movie. Snow White and the Huntsman received the 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray release that enhances the film's visual and auditory presentation. Although the movie was originally finished with a 2K digital intermediate, this 4K edition upscales the resolution, resulting in a sharper image with increased detail, particularly noticeable in facial features and textures. Now, the 4K transfer offers impressive sharpness without evident edge enhancements, and the contrast levels were quite well balanced, providing a deep blacks and vibrant colors. The film's rich visual palette, from the lush greens and enchanted forests to the stark whites of the Queen's castle, is rendered with greater depth and clarity in this edition. In terms of audio, the 4K release includes DTS HD Master Audio 7.1 track, delivering an immersive sound experience. Dialogue is clear and well prioritized, while the surround channels are effectively utilized to enhance the film's action sequences and atmospheric elements. The 4K Ultra HD package also includes extended editions of the film, offering additional content that delves deeper into the story. Supplementary materials, features behind the scene featurettes, and director's commentary and interactive set tours, providing fans with a comprehensive look of the film's production. Overall, the 4K release of Snow White and the Huntsman presents a notable visual and auditory upgrade from the previous editions, making it a worthwhile addition for fans and collectors seeking an enhanced visual experience. In conclusion, the Snow White and the Huntsman reimagines a classic not with whimsy but with weight. It asks, what does power look like, what does strength cost, and who gets to shape their story. Now, this version of Snow White doesn't wait for Prince or an apple. She rises with the dirt under her nails and fire in her eyes, and in that transformation, the old tale finds a new life. Now, this movie is a must-watch.